Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bear Share Show. This is your host, Andre Matoyer, and thank you all again for taking the time out to listen to a new episode. And today I'm joined with a friend of mine, the lovely Mr. Patrick Scott. Patrick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Andre?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me today. I really, really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So just so that people know who's listening, Patrick and I met in the most fun way. You were basically my 2019 travel buddy, but we didn't even
Yeah,
know each other when we first started doing that. That was awesome.
yeah. We were just
Like,
Facebook friends. We thirst
yeah,
at each other, and then, uh, yeah. Was it my post or your?
I posted, hey, this was in 2019. I was like, hey, who wants to go to IBC with me in Palm Springs? And all of a sudden, you were like, oh, hey, I'm down. And I was like, oh, okay. I did not expect that. I thought it was great. Because you live in Texas, in Houston, and I did know a lot of guys in the Houston area, so I was like, sweet, I get to know more people from there. And you came, and we had a wonderful time, and then we ended up going to what else? Where did we end up going? We ended up going to we went to TBRU, and we went to
To Tidal Wave.
what's Tidal Wave? Thank you, the Florida. That's right.
Yeah,
And then we went to TBRU again in
correct.
2020 when everything went to hell. But yeah,
Right
no,
before it
like
was shutting down.
as it was shutting down. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I know.
it was wild.
Yeah, that was such a weird weekend.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like, and it's been great. You seem to be doing really well over the past year, and I really admire that. So keep doing what you're
Well,
doing.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, the reason why we're doing this episode is me and you were talking recently, and
hmm
we were talking about the idea of body image issues again. And for those that know, I've done a couple episodes already. I did one just by myself talking about my history with it. And then my really good buddy Jake did an episode with me about his perspective. But ours, we were talking more on a different pathway with it. We were talking about how a lot of guys and a lot of bears that we know deal with a lot of shame and how we kind of shut down when it comes to body image. And I felt like
Right.
that would be a really good topic to sort of dive into and explain maybe why that is and what's causing that. Because I know it's not just us. Like, you know, you and me,
Yeah, I think everyone has it.
we're both pretty happy guys, I would say, for the most part. You're really energetic. And
Yeah.
even us, like, we get shame, and I know that we're not the only ones. So I feel like if we can maybe explain that a bit more and then provide ways for people to feel better and find ways to combat that, I think that can be really powerful. So thanks again, Patrick, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So when it comes to health and fitness and sort of your body image, when did you start to take notice of your body, and how did that sort of come to be?
Honestly, I was pretty young. So
Yeah.
my mom growing up was very health conscious. So
Okay.
she believed in home cooked meals. We didn't do a lot of processed food. We didn't do a lot of fast food. I wasn't allowed to have sugary cereal, things like that.
Okay.
And then she met my stepdad when I was like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And he was not a health conscious person. And uh, yeah, he's like 6'6" and like 450, like just a
Oh,
big dude.
damn. A
Yeah,
big old boy.
yeah.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
when he came into the picture, I mean, obviously he likes pizza and he likes junk food and he likes
Mm-hmm.
sugary cereal and he likes
Yeah.
takeout. And so it just slowly became more and more of our like regular routine to eat unhealthy food, and that mixed with early puberty, and I
Yeah.
just started gaining weight. And I remember my mom would make fun of me for gaining weight. And I'm like, well, I'm a child. You're the one feeding me here.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like, you're the one who's buying the food that I'm eating, so that's
Right.
not fair.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I really kind of learned then because, it was something that was like it was always funny to me that my mom's husband, who again is this big, tall,
Hmm.
guy, was telling me that I was fat. And I was like, you're kidding, right? And so I kind of had like this shame pretty early on. And then,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
yeah. And so it was just kind of one of those things where over the years I've kind of yo-yoed, honestly. So in high school, I got really thin. I was playing sports, I was really involved. And so I got really, really thin. Like people thought I was sick. And then,
Like, did
oh, yeah.
they see you, like, were you kind of chubby in middle school and then you thinned out in high school, so they saw that happen? Was that kind
Yeah.
of way?
So I was,
Okay.
I mean, even my freshman year of high school, I was still kind of chubby, right?
Okay.
It wasn't really until my junior and senior year that I dropped weight, and that was again because I just got really involved, and I think a lot of that probably was tied to depression as well because I had a lot of stuff going on at home. I had just come out, like my family and I weren't getting along,
Okay.
and so
So,
I think that kind of spiraled into if I focus on other things that I can control, then I don't have to pay attention to things that are out of my control.
gotcha.
And so that was kind of when I lost all that weight in high school. And then I went to college and gained it all back. And so, yeah, it's been like a yo-yo of weight.
Yeah, and I hear you there. I've had a similar yo-yo as well. I do find it kind of interesting though. So a couple things. One, um, what were you involved in high school? Like, what kind of sports or activities did you say you were involved in?
Yeah, so I was on the swim team, which was probably one of the gayest sports I could have chosen. Um, and then, and so I was on student council. I was involved in the drama club. I was the vice president or president. I can't remember. God,
Oh,
it's
that's
been so
cool.
long since high school. But I was on like the board for the drama club, and then I got
Okay.
involved with the state thespian society.
Ooh.
My school had like a suicide and depression group, like awareness group, and so I was involved in that.
Oh man. Okay.
Um, yeah, and then
So you stayed busy. You like to stay busy, basically.
yeah, I that 100%. If I stayed busy and focused on other things, I didn't have to be home focusing on the bad stuff.
Okay. So it's interesting too. You said that you were fighting the depression and frustration of home by being busy, creating that
Hmm.
distraction of things you can control. And I like that. That sort of contrasts the other direction. A lot of people sometimes shut down and they might turn to food or might, gain weight or might have the opposite happen. So I find it
Oh,
interesting that
I've
you
done the
kind of went
same.
the other way.
Yeah,
Well, at least in high
I've
school,
done. Yeah, in
you've
high
done
school
both.
I did. Yeah, in high school that was definitely the opposite for me. But I think now, if I get in like a bout of depression or sadness or anxiety about something going on, I do turn to food and I do go, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go to the gym today. And then not going to the gym today turns into not going tomorrow. And then suddenly my
Yeah.
going 5 days a week turns into once a week to not at all. And then I'm depressed again because I'm starting to gain weight again.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't
It is.
it?
Yeah. I think we're all hard on ourselves, but I mean, this is, I think, what kind of sparked your interest in
Yes.
this was we were talking about it's like we're hard on ourselves. We think people really care, but
Hmm.
man, I think that's in our head.
It, I I do too. I mean, yes, people are going to notice if someone gains or loses a lot of weight. And then
Yeah.
on social media, someone might like present or share, oh, look at my before and after. But for the most part, everyone's so focused on themselves. But I
Yeah.
think like the idea that you mentioned of, going and turning to food or whatever other ways you deal with stress, a lot of people do that. A lot of bears
Hmm.
do that. I do that. You do that. I know like
Hmm.
five other people I can think of off the top of my head that they do that, and or they fight against not doing that because it comes so naturally. It's pretty normal. So you're definitely not alone in that feeling, and I don't think I think a lot of people are too.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean that kind of brings into the next thing. So like college, you probably I'm assuming had like more freedom and party. I'm guessing too and
Oh yeah, for
gain some
sure.
weight. Yeah, I mean, I know when I started drinking more heavily in college, that's when I started putting it on. Um,
Yeah.
but
Drinking, being able to eat. So the university I went to in college, my meal plan wasn't restricted to, oh, you can only come in during morning for breakfast or only for lunch. I could go anytime. And so, and we had a on-site convenience store, like gas station, that you could use your meal plan at. We could order pizza with our meal plan, like Domino's and Pizza Hut. So, I mean, yeah, when I got to college, I had so much freedom and I had the ability to eat whenever I want and I could
Hmm.
eat whatever I want. That, yeah, all those bad habits came back and I gained a bunch of weight my freshman year of college.
Well, they say the freshman
And
15, which probably was more like
oh
the
yeah, for
freshman
me it was at
30.
least the freshman 40. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel that too. Like, okay, so there's this sense of like, you ever see the movie Home Alone? Right?
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
Home Alone 2. You know that scene where like he gets his dad's credit card and he just orders whatever food he wants and gets to do whatever he wants? Like, you know, similar to how your mom was, like, I was forced to sort of be really healthy. The opposite happened. My stepdad was actually very healthy, while yours wasn't. So I had the contrast effect. And I sort of rebelled in college, being like, hey, no one can tell me no if I want to get pizza. So I'm just going to go get pizza. You know, like that whole
Yeah.
was wonderful. You know, it definitely backfired. But yeah, you know, I totally empathize with that. Um, so that was then, but how is your relationship with health and stuff now? Because I know that you do go to the gym now, and I do love that.
Yeah.
But how is it? How is your relationship now?
Probably still love hate, right? So
Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
especially now with the pandemic, I mean, it's just been, oh, it's hard
Yeah.
to be motivated when just so much is going on, right? And so there was probably, I actually just started going back to the gym, um, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, because I'd probably
Okay.
taken 2 or 3 months off. Just,
Yeah.
work was busy, my life was busy. I didn't have energy. I was coming home just exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that exhaustion was just not taking care of myself, right? I wasn't I wasn't taking care of myself, and so that made me tired, and then that being tired made me not want to go take care of myself.
Yes, it's a cycle. If you don't have the
It is.
energy to go to the gym sounds like the worst place you want to be, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And so I've been traveling a lot for work. I'm
Mhm.
like literally gone everywhere. And so there are some days that I try to go to the gym, a local one nearby, if one of my gyms is there. I just found out recently through my insurance that there's a program where I can go to different gyms as long as they're like on this plan, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna start
cool.
doing that. Yeah, I just found out about this like a few weeks ago. Um, but like it's still difficult because like there's travel days and I'm in new areas. You know, I don't know. Like my routine basically isn't set like it used to be, and so I'm definitely sympathetic to that. To like, I haven't gone to the gym in months, and when I come back, I don't want to go because I'm tired. You know,
Right.
I just kind of want to watch TV in my hotel room and go to sleep. So like,
Yeah, I feel
I
you.
totally get that. Ironically, though, when you work out, you feel amazing, right? You get those endorphins. But
Right.
when you don't go, you feel like crap. So, what, like, do you think mental health or like depression or anxiety, like, how do you think that impacts someone's health and fitness? I know you touched on it earlier, but what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think it also depends on the person, but for me anyway, lately as an adult, I would say when I get in those depressive states where I'm just sad or feeling down, the last thing I want to do is go to a gym.
Absolutely. I know.
I'm
I'm
all
right there with
I'm
you.
all about self care, self care. I'm gonna stay home and eat this ice cream and just
Treat yourself.
watch TV. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uh,
When in reality, I should probably be getting my ass off the couch and going to the gym, even if it's just a cardio day, just going and sweating
yeah.
it out because afterwards I feel great. Because it's ironic that like the best the best way to get over something when I'm angry is ironically to go have a really good lift. I leave the gym feeling really good. I'm not upset
Mhm.
anymore, but it's like forcing yourself to go do that.
Correct. And
Yeah.
yes, and it's those times when you don't want to go, you have to tell yourself, like, remember that time I was feeling like shit and I went and I feel better? Like, that's the cure. A slice of pizza isn't gonna make you feel better as long as going to the gym does, you know.
Right.
But we don't. It's easier to go get a slice of pizza because it feels so damn good. I'm totally with you there.
Yeah.
So like this is something that happens to me. So I look online, I see all these like muscle daddies and dudes. I used to play sports. I played football. You used to be a swimmer. We both
Hmm.
do go to the gym, so we know we're not like newbies to it. We know how to do it. But I have this weird vicious shame cycle where I see guys online that are like super muscular, and I tell myself, well,
Yeah.
if I didn't pause all of those times, maybe I could have looked like that. And then I feel like I go back to the gym.
Oh,
I feel like I go back to the gym, and then I'm like starting from zero, and I feel like I'm at the base of this mountain again. That's just too damn high to climb, and I don't want to do it, and then I give up.
yeah. No, 100%. The other day, before you and I had a conversation, I was talking to another friend of mine about how I just gotten back into the gym and I really need to just try and stick with it this time because this time's going to be different. This time I'm going to keep the routine
Yep.
and I'm going to see results that are going to be long lasting this time. And I sent like a couple photos from other people's Insta, like, muscle daddies and bears. And I'm like, this is my goal. Like, if I can get my body here and if I don't
Yeah.
quit this time, I could be like this in a year. I could be like this in a year and a half. I just got to push myself. Don't give up this time.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, how hard are we on ourselves that, like, yeah, I'm starting over again. I'm like, man, if I had just not given up those 3 months, where would I have been?
Right. But it's not good to think that way because you're comparing apples and oranges, and you don't always know where those people like what they're doing and how they're getting their results, right? Some of them maybe sacrifice other areas of their life, like they're not very social, they're not who knows what they do for work. Maybe they have a ton of money and they can go to the gym 5 times a day. Like, there's an other side of the story that you don't see. So it's hard. I've been
Oh,
trying
for
to
sure.
do better about not comparing myself to a part story that, you can only see a portion of their life, you know.
Well,
Um,
and I think the other side of that is, at least for me, I don't want to say this is the same for you, but maybe it is. I feel like when I do talk to people about my like fitness goals, I get a lot of backlash because I feel like, at least with social media, like a lot of the people that follow me for thirsty reasons, probably because I'm a bigger guy, right?
yeah,
And when I talk about wanting to go to the gym or that I've been to the gym, I am surprised how many times I get a message that says, "You don't need to go to the gym. You're great the way you are." That's great you feel that way. I'm really happy that you feel that way. I am going to the gym for myself, right? Like
right,
I'm doing it because I want to look in the mirror and be happy with.
correct. Yes, and that's what it's about. Those messages to me are always sort of double, like double edged. Um,
Oh yeah,
on one
they
hand,
think
I'm
they're
like,
paying you the
oh,
best compliment, right?
right, but it's almost just like, what are you saying? Are you fetishizing me? Do you like?
Right.
I don't. I you know
I'll
what I'm
tell
trying
you.
to say.
I'll tell you a funny story. I was at
Okay.
the bar this. I was at the Eagle this weekend with my friends, and
Okay.
it was hot in there because it was colder outside, so they had the heat on inside. And I'm like, I don't understand why bars
Oh,
turn the heat on when it's 60 degrees outside because that's not cold, and you're just making the
right.
bar hot with all these bodies. So I'm in this
Correct.
bar sweating, and I cracked a joke about like, God, I'm sweating, and everyone was like, Yeah, but you don't understand. Like, you're a bear and you're sweaty. That's a thing for people. And I'm like, I feel gross right now. What are you talking about? So it's like the things that we look at ourselves and don't feel confident in or make us
Hmm.
insecure are like a fetish for other people, right?
Right. And that kind of goes to what we were saying earlier. Like, we're so hard on ourselves. The stuff we think matter probably don't, and the stuff we don't think matter probably does. Or, we don't. The
Yeah.
point is, we don't know what other people are thinking, right? Like,
Right.
and what we should be doing should be for ourselves and not for other people. And the reasons why we shouldn't want to look like the guy from Instagram. We should be wanting to be healthy because we want to, and set our own goals that are realistic. You know, um,
Exactly.
that's my point. Like, we shouldn't just be fat because three people online say that we're super attractive to them. But if that's what you want to be, if you like being a chubby guy, then be it. But do it for
Yeah.
you. right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that when I look online, we see these guys that are ideal. Um, you know, do you think there's a way we can sort of change how we think about it? So, like, instead of when we're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook and we see a guy who we find to be really attractive, who has a physique that we want. Me and you both like muscular physique, so that's what we find attractive, right? So,
Right.
what can we do or what do you do to try to limit your self shame and self negative talk if you feel down?
I put the phone down.
Okay, yeah, it's easy.
I know
Okay.
that sounds like the most simple answer, but I don't know. The older I get, the less I'm like scrolling social media, looking at all the hot physiques, right?
Yeah.
Like now it's just something that when I do it and it makes me feel bad about myself, I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna go back to watching TV, or I'm gonna read a book, or I'm gonna play a game. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, my boyfriend will be like, "Who are you talking to?" I'll be like, "I'm playing a game," and I'll show him, and he's joking, obviously, but
Yeah.
he just
Yeah.
because lately all I do is like play little games on my phone to just pass the time because I don't know, that's where I'm at in my life, I guess.
I hear you. I think as you get, no, I'm right there with you. Like as you get older, I've been more aware. I think over the past couple of years, with the pandemic and stuff, I've been more aware of how I've been spending my time. And like, if
Right.
I'm feeling down with social media, I'm kind of like, maybe this isn't the best use of my time.
Yeah.
There is, something that I've noticed, and I put into another episode was this idea of kind of just like when I feel down on myself or like shame on not being like other people or those goals, I sort of have to backtrack and say, you know what, like I need to stay in my own lane and focus on my own goals. And I realized that when I do that, that shit doesn't bother me as much. Like for example, maybe my goal is to start walking again in the morning. I used to walk with a friend of mine at 5 a.m. And I noticed when I
Hmm.
was doing those little things like walking in the morning, going to the gym at night, I may not have had been at my super, super, goal of this guy I saw on Instagram. But when I saw other people being successful or other people that did have those goals, I was more supportive
Hmm.
and less jealous or felt less insecure because I was like, hey, I'm taking the steps in the direction that I want.
Right.
I'm able to celebrate those things. Those feelings of jealousy or envy or insecurity aren't popping up as often.
Well, and
You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think that's also what helps me keep the routine is
Yeah.
when I'm doing it because okay, I'm just gonna commit to going and doing 30 minutes of cardio in the morning. Let's just commit to that. And then I do that and then it builds like this routine and this confidence and this pattern. And then okay, I'm all right, now I'm ready to start lifting again. But just starting slow and building it up is what kind of
Yeah,
helps me keep the routine long term.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And focusing on that. At least that's what works for me. It helps me pay attention to like reduce the noise around me and focus on what I'm doing. Do you think your body image issues has affected how you date? And for example, like I know that you're pretty open. Like I've seen you kind of go out with like bears and otters and stuff like that too. But
Hmm.
have you ever felt the stigma or challenge like, oh, you're a bear, you should be with another bear? Oh, like, felt out of place with the community or like how you've been dating or how is that all related for you?
Um, I haven't really, like you said, for me, I've never really been, I know this sounds cliche, but I've always been more attracted to the person and the personality than necessarily their body.
Okay.
Now, I mean, obviously, we all, have a preference, I guess you could say. And like when I'm drunk at a bar, I'm probably going to be more likely to go up to a quote unquote chaser. I also go up to bears and say hi and flirt with them. So, like, I don't know. It's like, I think me more so, it's the personality and the person. If you can make me laugh, if you're just a genuinely kind person, that's more attractive to me than the body, which is ironic because of how hard we are on ourselves and our bodies, right?
Correct.
That goes back
Yes.
to that. Like I and other people am not I don't focus on their body, but I think people focus on me for my body, and not in a like not I don't mean that in a fetishizing way. I mean like as an insecurity of mine. I think,
Yeah.
oh, that's the first thing they're going to notice is that I'm a bear, that I'm a big guy.
Everyone thinks that. And
Yeah.
that's the point. Like everyone
Yeah.
thinks that their body is awful, or their body is going to be the focus of either criticizing, or maybe they're going to get the, accolades because they finally got their six pack or something. But at the end of the day, like people
Right.
don't really pay attention to it. I mean, maybe if you're interested in someone, you might notice, but I don't know. I think there's other things that draw people in besides just looks at first,
Right.
Um, like I've gone, it's to me, personality plays a huge factor in dating. Like, I've been attracted all of a sudden to people that I probably wouldn't have found attractive right away, just at first glance. But I've gotten to know them, or chatted with them, or spoken with them, and been like, oh wow, like this dude's really legit. And I start to look past those stupid things that they're probably really insecure about. Yeah, and that's what matters more. And I think we just need to
Yeah.
remind
I
ourselves that
agree.
when we feel insecure.
For sure.
Yeah. So, a couple more things. First,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any advice or words of wisdom from Sir Patrick of, for people that are having body image issues? So, like, let's say someone's driving home from work right now, they had a shitty day, and maybe they want to, go for a walk, or they want to go do cardio, or they want to go to the gym, but they're not feeling motivated today. Or they feel like they're going to a swimming party and they feel like shit. Like, what would you tell them to feel better?
Well, I mean, I think especially right now with the world the way it is and the pandemic and just life's hard right now, right? So I try to give myself grace, and so I would say the same to them. If you're not feeling it, don't force yourself. Um, if you can push yourself to go. In the mornings when I would rather stay in bed and cuddle with my boyfriend, I
Mm-hmm.
remind myself that I'm doing this for me to be healthy,
Yeah.
and then I grab a book or I scroll through TikTok while I'm doing cardio, and that passes the time. And before I know it, I've done what I committed to, right? I said, okay, I'm at least going to go do 30 minutes of cardio. And then I look and it's been 40 minutes because I've been scrolling through TikTok or reading messages or whatever. So yeah, if you can push yourself to go, then do. But if you're really not feeling it, you're really down, it's okay. Take the day, take the break.
Absolutely. Um, remember, body image issues. The flip side of that is body positive. Just
Mm-hmm.
being proud of who you are. Being healthy is the most important thing. Um,
Right.
don't just do something because other people are doing it. Like, don't just go to the gym because you see other people doing it, or don't just be a big guy because other people are doing it. Like, if you want to be a big guy, if you want to be a muscular guy, if you want to be a chaser, thinner guy, then do it. But
Right.
do it for yourself. And like you said, don't force yourself if you're miserable. But get
Yeah.
nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change unless you make that change. But don't be so hard on yourself while doing it, because if you're going to be, it's okay to push, like, to motivate yourself, but if you go too far and be the extreme where you're like self-criticizing to the point where you shut down, then that's self-defeating. So don't go that far. Be kind to
Yeah.
yourself, and I think you'll be more likely to accomplish your goals.
Yeah. I think another thing to remember is that um, a friend of mine told me this when I was going through some hard stuff a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he said, no one's going to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to be the one to push yourself to get up out of bed every day. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be the one to push yourself to go to the gym when you can. No one else is going to make you do that. No one else can make you do that. You have to do it for yourself. So it's important to recognize,
100%.
like you said, if you can push yourself to go, then do it. But if you can't and you know you can't, then it's okay to take the break.
Right. But then don't do this. Like, I know people, they'll be like, I'm such a piece of shit for not going. I'm such a piece of shit for eating Burger King, blah, blah, blah. That's like,
Right.
okay, like, whatever. Like, you ate Burger
Give
King.
yourself grace.
Who
Yeah.
cares? Like, it's done now. That's done. Like, what are you going to do tomorrow? And you're not a bad person for doing one thing or the other. It's just, don't overthink it. Just do it, and don't be so hard on yourself
Exactly.
about it. Yeah. You got some praise the other day, like, because you've been kind of in a good routine the last couple of weeks, and then what
Yeah.
happened? Like, something happened at the gym, right?
Yeah. So this random guy that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going to a different location. The gym that I was going to, the location before, was a little further from the apartment, but I liked it. Like, I just liked the layout of it. It was cleaner.
Yeah.
And so I would drive out of the way to go to that one. Well, now that I'm getting back into the routine, I'm like, man, I don't really feel like driving an extra 15 minutes to go to that gym when I'm already dreading going and doing 30 minutes of cardio, right?
Right.
So I've just, for the last couple of weeks, I've been going to this other location that's closer to the house. And so this guy because I don't work out at that location normally, this guy that I'd never met came up to me the other day and, tapped me on the shoulder, and I pulled my headphones down, and he goes, why do we do this to ourselves every morning? And I just kind of was like, what? And he's like,
Yeah.
every morning we come in here and we push ourselves and we push ourselves and we sweat. And I don't know, why do we do it, man? Are we crazy? And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, I don't really know where this is going, man. And then he goes,
Yeah.
anyway, I didn't recognize you. I thought maybe you were new, and I just wanted to let you know to keep it up. You're doing good. I see you every morning coming in and pushing yourself. And I just thought that was cool because, I mean, yeah, for all he knows, that was my first time in a gym ever. So it was nice that he did
Yeah.
that to a complete stranger.
Absolutely. And exactly. But to answer his question, you're pushing yourself because you want to. You're doing
Exactly.
it for your own health. It's not because
Yeah.
of any other bullshit. You
Yeah.
want to, and you're being kind to yourself, and you're doing what's best for yourself, and that's the reason
Yeah.
why you're doing it.
Well, and yeah, and that's I think the thing that I've had to try and explain to a lot of people is that the reason I'm working out is not because I want to be, skinny with a six pack. I don't think that'll ever happen for me. I just don't think that's my body. But I
mm,
want to be healthy, right? I want to be able to
yeah,
go up a flight of stairs without being winded. I want to be able to run and not get winded. I want to do
yes,
normal activities without being out of breath.
right,
I want
exactly,
to not have
exactly,
sleep apnea because I have all these
yeah,
other things going on, right?
and that doesn't make you less of a bear. You can still
Right.
be a bear and still be a part of the community. You know, I I've talked to some guys who have the opposite. Like, they might be really, really thin, and I talked about this more when I did that chaser episode with one of my buddies. But there's some
Mm-hmm.
guys who want the opposite. They'll try to. They think the only way to fit in with the bear community is to gain weight. And I always say, you know what? If that's what you want to do, fine. But I don't want you to do it because, like, that could be unhealthy, right? Like, be
Right.
you. Don't be unhealthy. If you want to, be a little thicker but still have normal blood levels and be healthy, that okay, fine, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
It's your life. I don't recommend that. I don't, but
Right.
people do.
No,
I'm
because it's
sure
not
you met
healthy,
guys.
right? It's
Yeah,
not healthy
it's
to
not.
force yourself to gain a bunch of weight.
No, if you're a big guy and you're proud of who you are and you're happy and that's what you like, I'm all for it. But like you said, I do want to be able to go up a flight of stairs and not be winded, and I would like to have some of the strength that I once had, like in high school. Those are good
Yeah.
feelings. When I was
Well,
going
I've
in 2019, I felt great, and I want that again.
yeah, I've played rugby since 2011, and let me tell you, I have yet to be able to make a full 80 minutes without just dying. And I always say, man, I'm going to get better at this cardio thing so I can last a full 80 minutes. But no, I end up by probably about 20 minutes into the game, I'm doing what they call the forward shuffle, where I'm trotting along. I am no longer running at break speed anymore. I am shuffling along across that pitch, and I'm like, I'll be there in a minute.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. I did rugby practice once, and it was
Yeah,
practice, and I was like, okay.
yeah,
If I can do that. Um,
yeah.
well, awesome. Uh, what are some things that you hope to see in the future when it comes to this? Or what do you think is going to happen in the future when it comes to body and feelings of shame?
I mean, I would hope it's a pipe dream, I'm sure, but I would hope that we all just kind of learn to accept the bodies we have, big or
Yeah.
thin, right? It's your body. It's the only one you're going to get. So at the end of the day, nurture it, love it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a big guy, you're a big guy, you know? And if you want to change it, then change it. But if you don't, that's okay. Don't feel shame.
Right. I think it's going to probably get a little worse before it gets better. You know, the more social media increases,
Mm-hmm.
the more, I mean, it's just a fact, right? Like the more we compare ourselves to
Yeah.
other and see that. But I think my advice, and I've said it already, focus on your own goals, what you want. And I think a lot has to be said, like, about how you carry yourself and how you portray yourself. And shame does the opposite. It makes you less. So ignore the shame
Yeah.
and feel better. Do you remember? Do you watch Big Mouth at all? The show Big Mouth.
I watched the first season, but I didn't pick it
Okay.
back up after that.
There's so they have hormone monsters, but there's another monster
Uh-huh.
introduced in a later season. I want to say like 3 or 4. It's like the shame monster, the shame wizard, and he like goes into. He shows up and he makes the kids in the show feel insecure, like when they go to a pool or something. They start like the shame wizard's like telling them, "Oh, like look at your bush, or like crappy feet, or like look how short you are, or hairy legs, or something." And the idea is just to point out like ridiculousness that we all feel, but like obviously this show is made. People obviously can relate to this. You know, shame is
Right.
very real. So, but the point
Yeah.
is, and they make a point of it toward the end of this most recent season, like that shit's all in your head. You know, find ways that make you feel better and lets you present your best self, and that will help overcome the shame that you're feeling and realizing
Yeah.
it's not rational.
Well, yeah. I mean, I posted that photo the other day. I don't know if you saw the one where I had said
Mm-hmm.
I'd gained like 100 pounds in since 2013.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I posted it like, man, this is like why I'm trying to get back in the gym because I have gained some weight. And almost every confident or every photo was like, or every comment on the photo was basically like, "Oh no, you look great now. You look great now. You look," and I'm like, well, I'm glad you think that, and I appreciate the compliment. I really do. But I'm looking at it like I have gained so much weight, and I've got to get back in the gym and get this under control. Not because I want to be skinny, but because I just don't want to be unhealthy.
Right. You want to go back to where you felt your healthiest, and then I think that should be
Right,
your goal, and I support that.
right, and it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking like, no, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and then everyone else is like, no, it's not. So it furthers that point that shame is totally in your head.
100%. I lost 55 pounds, and then I saw you at TVRU. That was like the lowest I had
Hmm.
been, God, in like a decade. And I gained like 20 of it back, and I've been struggling with that over the past couple of years
Yeah.
since then, or a year and a half. Um, and you know, now my barometer isn't so much on the number; it's like you said, more on the health. So, you know, as long as I don't get back to where I was getting sleep apnea, I do blood work every few months, and if that comes back normal, then
Hmm.
that's kind of my barometer. And then I just go based on energy level. So, like, am I feeling tired? Am I feeling depressed all the time? All right, maybe those are signs that I can be more, you know, motivated to be more active. And then, therefore,
Yeah.
when I'm those goals, you know, the shame goes away, etc. So, um, yeah, I totally am with you with that. Like, but again, people are like, "Oh, you look great," and I'm like, "Oh, you know, fine." But yeah, don't be so
Yeah.
hard on yourself. So,
Yeah. Which is easier said than done, right?
totally.
But yeah, in a
Um,
perfect world.
in a perfect world. Well, thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate it. And you know what? That goes to say, for those listening, we love you, and we hope that you guys take a little bit of inspiration from this and realize, you know, in those times you feel like shit or down on yourself or really hard on yourself, just chill. You know, you're being too much. So thank you everyone for listening to the episode of the Bear Share Show. You can catch the episodes of the Bear Share Show on Facebook. at the Bear Show. There's a site there that has all of my episodes, and then also on Anchor. And then also you can follow me on Instagram at the Bear Show, Twitter, the Bear Show, and pretty much any music service like Spotify, Apple Music. You can find me on there if you want to listen to more episodes. If you have a suggestion, you can also email me at the Bear Show as well. So thank you all so much for all of you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks again, Patrick.
Thank you.